Alright, so welcome to another class. Today I'm doing a recording because I've closed my studio for the day. I've gone and done a COVID test. I have a mild cold, and just to be safe, I'm going to record instead. So today you may need a brick, a strap could be useful, maybe something nice and soft for the knees, like a blanket or a towel. And just bear in mind that anything we do in the class, do not do it if it's not comfortable, causes pain, etc. And if I do offer modifications, feel free to use those if they apply to you. Otherwise, let's get comfortable lying down on our backs. And with the knees bent, just lengthen through the spine. So I'm sort of relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, and then slightly tilting into the pelvis, getting the spine really comfortable there on the floor. And then I'm going to creep the feet a little bit further away. So I don't want any tension in the legs. I want to be able to keep the inner thighs nice and soft as I begin to focus on my breath through the nose and allowing the belly to expand on the inhale and to relax to the floor on the exhale. So just keep going with a couple of conscious, nice deep breaths into the belly. And then if you'd like to add a little movement with that breath, as we inhale, let's take the arms overhead, just a very gentle little arch into the back. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the arms back down. Of course, if it's not comfortable on the shoulders, you can take the arms just towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, bring them back down from there. So just see what your range of movement is like in the shoulders. Is one side different from the other? And we'll do one more. Keeping the arms, if you can, overhead, or if they're part way up, bring them down beside the body. Extend the legs away. Big body stretch as we point our way through the toes and the fingers. And then we're going to let it all go. Arms back down. Okay, so we'll just rotate into the feet, into the ankles and the wrists. And we'll go the other way. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to work a little bit stronger through our abdominal region, and for this one we'll be doing some cycling in the air. If you want a little bit more support for your back, you could put the hands underneath the buttocks. So that's just going to help tilt the pelvis a little bit and keep more of the lower back here in contact with the floor. So this is one option. If you find that you don't need any support, that's fine, just have the arms down beside the body. So let's see if we can take the feet off the floor, and notice if you're really arching into the back, then you want to bring that support in. And we're just going for a slow cycle. As we get movement into the knees, into the hips, can we also work the ankles? So we're going to point and flex the feet. So I point up. Well, actually, I flex up and then I point down. But if it's all getting a little bit too confusing, just keep the legs moving is the main thing. If you want to work harder, bring the legs a little closer to the floor without touching. But we want that full range while we keep breathing. All right, let's bring both feet to the floor. Relax. So that would have engaged these lower abdominal muscles between the belly button and the pubic bone. So the really deep ones, which is what we want to work on, are the transverse abdominis. They run across the belly like that. So now we're going to go backwards. Again, you can add the support underneath. And this time, what we're going to try and do is almost run the toes along the floor before we come up towards the ceiling. Now, so that's stronger. If it's too strong, then you can be a little bit higher up. But again, I'm looking for that movement in the knee joints, in the hips, trying to keep this back connected to the floor. And breathe. Of course, if you need to rest, you can always bring the legs down at any time. All right, last one. Let's come down. Relax the arms a little bit more out to the sides, and then we'll keep the feet roughly hip width, knees bent, and we'll just go for a nice little loose roll, side to side, easing off. Okay, from here, we'll come back to center, cross the left leg over the right leg, and then just release both legs to the right, keeping the shoulders relaxed to the floor. So it's just a little bit more of a twist here, opening also this outer thigh hip area. Still belly breathing. On the next inhale, let's come back up. Change the legs, right over left, and then a little roll to the left. So you don't have to go all the way. We're just relaxing into it. So from this position, we're going to roll all the way over to come onto hands and knees. So just bring the right arm over, continue rolling, and then let's come up. And from here, if you want to give yourself a little bit more support for your knees, then you can put a blanket down. Because we're coming into cat pose, we're going to do a few postures here on the hands and the knees. So for a cat, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, but a little bit of softness here in the elbow joints. So I don't want to lock them forwards. And then we're going to do what we call tiger pose today. So this is a little bit more active with the breath. As we inhale, we're going to extend the right leg back. We take the gaze forwards. And then on the exhale, we're going to bend the knee and the head towards each other. So it's inhale coming back and exhale forwards. Now if you can place your knee all the way up to your head, awesome. Just don't connect them too much. And if you can't, that's all right. Just follow what I'm doing. So we're flexing, rounding into the back. All right, we're going to bring that side back down. Now if you need to release the wrists, you can rotate. And we're going over to the left. If you do find this is too much on the wrists, you could try coming under the forearms. You'll have a little bit less space under the body, but it will make the wrists more comfortable. So let's take left leg back, breathing in, gaze forwards, exhale, contracting through the front body. So breathing through the nose. And we'll make this our last one. All right, we'll come into a child pose. We're going to keep the knees under the hips for this one. Buttocks all the way back to the heels if you can. And if it's a little tricky to get the head to the floor, rest the head on the hands. But for those of you who are comfortable, see, I don't find this comfortable. I'm a little bit too high with my hips. You can have the arms beside the body. And then releasing back up to our hands and knees. So again, if you want to take the wrists out of it, you can do this next one on the forearms. We're going to take our right leg straight back. Keep the hips level, so I don't want to rotate the hip to the ceiling. We're going to bend the knee and flex the foot. So I've got my heel directly over my knee joint. I'm trying to keep my knee about hip height. And then we've got little movements. So I'm pushing the sole of the foot towards the ceiling. And it's just a little lift So this is working our glute muscles, hamstrings. It's very Jane Fonda-ish. A few more. Okay, let's bring that back down. And again, if you want to release, have a bit of time with that. Okay, left leg straight back, bend the knee, flex the foot, knee in line with hip, and then we lift from there. So it's just little leg lifts. Nice, good pace. Straight up towards the ceiling. And we keep going. Just trying to get those muscles feeling like they're being used. And when you think you can't do any more, maybe 2 more. Okay, let's bring that back down. This time working child, so we'll go a little wider. Knees out to edges, big toes touch. Again, your choice. Head resting on hands. Or this time, you may want to take the arms out a little further. Next breath in. We'll bring it back up. All right, so now we're going to work into a bit more balance. So we're still on the wrists. Again, you can do this on the forearms if you prefer. You could also try fists, but with the balance it'll be a little bit trickier. So we're going to begin with the right leg back and the left arm forward. So we're stretching opposites out. Little lift through the belly. So I'm not sort of dropping into my back. And again, trying to keep the hips level. Arm is next to the ear. And then we'll change sides. So we'll take left leg back, right arm forwards. Nice long spine here. And then we're going to bring that back in. So that's the easy one. A little bit trickier is same side. So you're going to need to lean a little bit to the left. We'll take the right leg up and then see if we can take the right arm up. So I will tilt off a little bit here. Okay, we'll change sides. So a little lean to the right, left leg back. Transfer weight. Let's see if we can get left arm up, reaching out. And then bring it back in. Okay, so our final one with this is same side arm and leg, but this time, if it's comfortable, we're putting a little bit of a back bend with it. So we're going to lean to our left, take the right leg up, hip will open now. We're going to bend the knee, reach around and see if we can grab hold of the foot or the ankle, whatever works. Roll the shoulder back, opening to the side. If it's a bit tricky to grab the foot, you can hold it there. Okay, we're going to come back down. Let's switch it round. So we're going to lean a little bit to the right, left leg back, open up to the side, bend the knee, reach around, grab hold with the left hand, lift and open up. So a little push away maybe with the foot. Might make you feel more stable. And then we're going to let it go. Okay, rest. So your choice. You can have knees hip width or knees wide. And let's just release. Either head supported or arms out in front, whatever is going to be the most comfortable for you. All right. Coming back in. And after all that, we will give the wrists a nice little roll around. And from here, make a fist a couple of times in and out. Just good for strengthening up the wrists here. Now, we're going to move into a little bit of lunging. So again, you might want this blanket down underneath the knees. So let's step the right foot forwards, and I've got hip width distance between my foot and my bottom knee. Check that your left foot's not sort of angling in. I want to bring it behind that left knee joint. I'm going to face the front. So as I move forwards, I should be feeling an opening here in my left thigh. So I haven't kept my hip over my knee. I've now extended forwards. Same time though, right knee over ankle. And then if it's comfortable, sweep the arms up, maybe gaze up, but keep the back of the neck nice and long. Stretch through the fingers. Anjaneyasana. Lunge position. Now while we hold this, at the same time as we're stretching, can you add a little bit of contraction? So think of pulling your thigh bones into the hip joints. So we're just adding a little bit of strength as we hold the stretch. And then we'll take the hands down. Now both hands, big toe side of foot. And we're coming down a little bit deeper. So I'm going to readjust my right foot a little further out, and I've turned the toes slightly out to the corner of the mat. And then from here, my shoulder is on the inside of the right knee. Now you get choices. So you can choose to stay here a little higher. Again, try not to lock out the elbows. And either keeping the back knee on the floor, or you could lift the knee off the floor a little bit deeper again. Another choice, if it's comfortable, you could use a brick. Place your forearms on a brick, or if it's available to you, maybe all the way to the floor. And again, choice, back knee on the ground, or a little bit of lift, which is a little bit more intense. And my breathing. Okay, back knee to floor. Straighten up through the arms. Big step back with the right foot. And then we're going to release those hip flexors and just have a little relax here in our child. Next breath in. We're going to come back up. Big step forwards with the left. And then upright. So I've got left foot, left side of the mat, right knee on the right. I've got a little bit of my hip width here. And then as I ease forwards, I just want to make sure knees over ankle. I'm getting that nice stretch in my right thigh and hip area. But we have that little bit of drawing in of the thigh bones. Just a slight contraction. So you're feeling the ligaments being supported in the stretch. Let's sweep the arms up, shoulders down and relaxed along the back there. Make the fingertips alive. I've got my palms facing each other. You might even like to think of a long line from that bottom right knee all the way up through the right fingers. On the next exhalation, we're going to bring the hands down, big toe side of foot. So I can go a little deeper now. I'm going to readjust my left foot to reflect that. Slightly turned out, knee in line with toes, but see, I've still got my knee over my ankle. And then finding where you're happy to go to. So you can stay high here or here with the knee lifted, or you can come down using a support of a brick or towards the floor. And again, you can either have knee on the ground or knee lifted, a little bit stronger. Making sure you can still breathe. If you're clenching your teeth, it's probably a bit too intense. So perhaps relax it off a bit so that you can keep the face soft. If you've got the knee up, bring it back down. And then from this position, let's come back onto the hands. We're going to ease back out. So big step back. Once more, release, soften, let it go. Favorite child pose. And breathing in, let's come back to our hands and knees. All right. So our next pose, we'll be moving into Savannasana, our downward dog, and doing a bit more of a hip opener while we're there. So quick overview, hands will be slightly in front. We're going to ease up and back. You can do a little walk out if you like. And then what we'll be doing is taking a leg up into the air, lift, turn, rotate, and looking underneath the arm. So what it looks like on this side, leg up, lift, turn, rotate, looking over here. So that's very quick. We're going to spend a little bit longer than that. So spread your fingers out. I've got my hands a little wider than my shoulders, just because I know my neck and shoulders prefer to be that little bit wider. And then we want the feet hip width. So let's breathe in, lift the knees. As we exhale, let's start to take the weight back. So I'm moving my chest towards the legs. And if you want to walk it out a little bit, alternate bending one knee, then the other. Nice big stretch. And then settling into your downward dog. So just allow both heels to come down. Relax the shoulders. Check that the hands are spreading the weight into the fingertips, into the palms. A little bit of a breath. Now here, if you want to come down and have a quick rest, grab that. Go into your child pose. Release the arms for a moment. If you want to work stronger, you can stay there. And then for those who did have their quick little rest, let's come back up. Ease back into our downward dog. Now we're going to take the right leg up and back. So I don't want the weight top heavy. I want to take it back towards my left leg. So I'm moving my chest in that direction. Then we're going to bend the right knee, lift, turn, open to the ceiling. So we get a great stretch down that left leg. You can look underneath the arm preferably, because that way I'm opening my chest a little bit more. If I'm up here, I've got the weight moving forwards. I want to get right back here. Feel that nice stretch all along the hip, the waist, the chest. And then we'll bring that leg back down, soften the knees. Let's come down, have a little rest before we go to the other side. Okay, from here, we're going to do our left side. So, toes tucked under, good solid base. Let's lift up and back. Head should be nice and relaxed. And then from here, extend the left leg back and then move the chest towards the bottom leg. We get this good stretch through the right side. We're going to bend the knee, lift, turn, rotate. Always come down if you're getting a little fatigued. Trying to look underneath the arm. Big opening, so I'm thinking of my left foot moving to the right buttock, knee to the ceiling, hip to the ceiling. And then we're going to release all the way back down. And once more, have a rest. Release those wrists especially. When you're ready, we're going to come back up and onto our knees. So we're going to make our way all the way up to stand, and You can do this a few ways. You can go back to downward dog, walk it up, or you can take 1 foot forwards, tuck the back toes under, and then come up via your lunge. So let's take the blanket off the sticky mat if you were using that. And we're going to come sideways onto our mat. So I've got the long edge, and then we'll step the feet out nice and wide. And we'll be working into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So turn the right foot out 90 degrees, extend away through the left heel, and we're after quite a long stance. So when I take my arms out, I've roughly, hopefully, got my wrists roughly over the ankles there. Then we're going to bring the hands back in. So from here, let's just have a nice little play with the pelvis. So the pelvis is this whole unit of hips, sacrum, buttocks. So we're just going for a nice little roll. So as we draw back, think of this right thigh pulling back into its hip joint. Now I don't want to, when I'm in my triangle pose, I don't want to collapse all the way and face to the right foot. However, I also don't want to keep the hips directly square to the front mat. I want something in between. So I'm just going to allow the right hip to draw back a little bit, left hip moves slightly forwards, but I haven't dropped all the way into it, so it's just a little bit. This right leg is really lifting, so my kneecap's drawing up, back kneecap's also drawing up. We're going to take the right arm out, and then on the exhale, just glide over the right leg. Then I'm going to breathe in, come back. Exhale and glide. So I'm trying to touch the side wall. Breathe in, come back. Exhale, glide. So as I glide over, this thigh's pulling back in. Everything's nice and strong. This time I'm going to allow the hand to come to rest anywhere along this right leg. So I don't want to collapse all the way down to here. I want to keep a little bit of lift at this point. We're going to turn and rotate into our ribs. So I'm relaxing left shoulder back, relaxing right shoulder back, and then watching that I don't drop the head. Keep the head in line with the rest of the spine. Okay, let's take that left arm away. So if I remove the bottom hand, I should be able to comfortably hold it here. If you've got back problems, definitely keep the support, maybe even bend that right knee a little bit. Just a smidgen though, not too much. Okay, so here I can hold. I've got the strength. Let's come back up. All right. Transfer to our left side. So we're going to pivot the feet around, especially that back foot. I've just slightly turned it in, and I want to keep this nice long length, heel roughly in line with instep. Okay, so let's get the hips moving. Just a nice little roll, and then thinking about this left thigh drawing into its hip socket. You know, it could feel different on this side, depending on what's going on in our hip joints and our legs. Okay, so now I don't want to be square. I don't want to be fully collapsed. I just want a little bit. Drawing up, thighs into joints. Left arm extending. So we're going for the glide. We're going to breathe in. Exhale and glide over. Inhale, come back. As I exhale and glide over, this left leg is drawing strongly in. I'm going to come back. Next time, glide over and hold. Legs are strong. We'll place the hand anywhere along, but not collapsing down, because I want to get this lift. I want to open up. Shoulders relax back, and then we're stretching away through the left arm at this point. Little test, can you let go? Can you stay here? Or do you need to keep the support? It's okay to use support. Don't have pain in your body, especially your back. So strong, strong, strong. Okay, we're going to reach all the way back up. Relax. We'll give the legs a little bit of a shake out. So walk the feet back in. That's our warm up. We're going to go again. So back to our right side. Maybe a little bit longer in the stance, if that's comfortable. And then from here, let's take both arms out. So breathing in. Drawing over the right leg. So lots of extension through the side body. As I take the arm over, hip draws back a little bit. Then we're going to bring one arm down, one arm up. Your choice whether to look to the top arm. You can look to the floor, you can look straight ahead. But can you take some weight? So this time, I've come a little bit lower because I've got a longer stance. I've warmed up. Option of bringing the hand behind. And if you're tempted to go to the floor, just your little tip of the finger touching because you want to use that strength. Last thing I want to do is sort of collapse. I've switched off my core muscles when I do that. Okay, all the way back up. Release. Turn that foot in, so I've bent the knee, makes it a little bit easier to rotate. Okay, left foot out, back foot slightly rotated. I've got my slightly longer stance. Breath in. Exhale, glide. Length through the side body, and then allow the hands to move into position. So I'm drawing up these leg muscles nice and strong. If you want to take the support away, bring the arm behind rather than in front because we tend to lean forwards. Bring it back. You can smile. Only little finger brushing the ground if you want to go that far. Nothing wrong with being up here. This is more comfortable. I can breathe free. This is okay, a bit more intense. All right, we're going to come back up nice and strong. Release the arms, walk the feet in. A little bit of a shake out. Nice work. And Uttanasana. So this is meant to be a rest. We're going to have the knees soft. So we fold from the hips. Feet are out roughly hip width here. And then you can either let the hands touch the floor. I quite like to fold the arms. I've got my belly just resting on the thighs. And I get a nice stretch through the back. Okay, we're going to release the arms. Start to lift the head, lift the chest. I've bent the knees a little bit more. Head now higher than heart. And as I breathe in, I'm going to keep the head high and come all the way back up. Now, next pose, we're still working with triangle, but we're going to twist it. So it's a little bit of a different setup. And for this one, this is where you might want to have a brick or some form of support for the hand. So we're just going to put that brick here in the middle. Your choice on height, you can always change it as we go into it. And then right foot, we'll be stepping to the right side of the mat. And then I'm going to step my left foot back a little bit more. Slightly turned, but most of my foot is pointing to the top of the mat. I do want to have my body, front of the body, facing the small end of the mat this time. Because we're going to be twisting, rotating, the more I can keep everything from my bottom half grounded, centered to face this way, the easier it's going to be for my upper body to turn and rotate to my right side. So start with the hands on top of the pelvis. Legs are straight, drawing up. And as we exhale, we're just going to tilt forwards from these hips, keeping the shoulders back, chest open. So this is strong work. I've really got to work hard now through the legs to keep my body position. We're going to allow the left hand to come down. Now you can change the height of the brick. You can have it underneath the chest. And we're going for an easy twist to start off with. So from here I'm going to lift my head, lift my chest, turn to the right. So I'm bringing my left shoulder forwards, relaxing right shoulder back. Now this is working quite strong here on this outer thigh, outer hip area. Okay, come back to center. Inhale, come back up. So I'll give you a front on view. So we'll go to the other side. We're going to have the left foot forwards, right foot back. I've got my hip width distance. You can see between the feet. I haven't got my foot turned out. So I'm going to have everything facing towards the front, where the body's facing. Okay, hands on hips. Got my brick roughly in the middle. I can always adjust that when I go down. Press down through the legs. As we exhale, we're going to fold forwards. Nice and easy. Feel that strength. We've got to work it nice and strong. Pressing down through the feet. Then we're going to release the right hand down. Feel free to readjust the brick. Now you can have a fist, palm, fingertips, whatever works. But don't collapse into the ground or the head here. I want to lift. If I try and rotate here, my back is rounded. So I want to get my breath, lift my head, lift my chest, straighten the bottom arm. Begin that exhale, rotate. So now I'm turning to my left, bringing left shoulder back, right shoulder forwards, and constantly pressing through the feet. So I'm getting this big opening here, the iliotibial band, outer knee to outer hip. Now this is sort of, it's not too squeezy, so I should be able to breathe comfortably into my belly. Okay, we're going to face the floor. We're going to step forwards. You can come up and step out. Release, relax. Okay. That's a warm-up. Now we're going to try it with a little bit more extension. So I'm going to show you the other side, the right side again, but facing the other way. So this time, maybe even a longer setup. Longer the legs are, more space it gives me for my spine to extend. So from here, we're going to take the left arm forwards, right hand on the hip. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, extend the left arm out. And now, choice, you can stay with the brick. You could also put your hand somewhere along the leg. You can have the brick in a little closer here. Or you could even go little toe side of foot. I quite like to have the connection though between the brick and my leg. And then from here, this is tighter. So we're going to inhale, lift the head, lift the chest, squeeze the outer hips, squeeze the legs, turn and rotate. See if it's comfortable to bring the top arm up. If it's not, come back a little bit more. That's going to give you more space to twist. See if you can smile and breathe. A lot stronger. And then we'll come back down. I'm going to bend the front knee. I quite like to step forwards here. So back to my Uttanasana and just have a little hang. After that, you'll notice the difference between the right leg and the left leg. As we breathe in, we're going to roll it up. Okay, so let's try the other side. So now I've got my left foot forwards. I'm going to have my brick in a little closer. Big step back with the right foot. But I'm pivoting everything to face the top of my mat. All right, from here, left hand on hip. Inhale, right arm out. On the exhale, reach, extend, lengthen. I'm going to bring the hand down. So your choice, you can go little toe side of foot, you can go onto the foot. You can bring it back here, big toe side, but it's a little bit closer. Then we're going to breathe in, head lifted, so we can get a bit more rotation. And then once we turn, squeeze the hips, squeeze the thighs, see if we can take that top arm up. So strong, strong legs. Still breathe. You might find one side easier than the other. It's fairly strong. All right, face the floor. We're going to bend the front knee, step forwards, come to Uttanasana. Nice little hang. Let the breath settle. And then let's bring hands to floor. We're going to walk it back into a downward dog. Just a nice little stretch out. And then knees to floor. And how about we lower ourselves all the way down to the ground. So a nice little rest. Shake the legs out. All right. And then from here, we're going to move into our snake pose, so Sapasana. And then we're going to start with the hands beside the body. Feet are roughly hip width, but think of turning the big toes towards each other a little bit. So inner thighs are slightly lifted. I don't know if I'm crushing my mic here when I'm lying on it. So from this position, very gentle, breath in, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the arms. See how that feels. Keep the back of the neck long. So working upper back strength. All right, let's exhale, come back down. And if that felt okay, we're also, next time we're going to lift the legs off the floor. So next breath in, lift the head, lift the chest, lift the arms, see if we can lift the legs. So I'm still keeping a lot of length in my spine, but we're strengthening those back muscles in this position. Little lift of inner thighs to the ceiling, shoulders away from ears. All right, let's come down. Now when you rest, you can bring the hands underneath the head if you like. We've got one more to go. This one, again, you can stay low level. You can just do upper back if you like. You could even come into a sphinx if you want something even gentler. Or let's go back to snake pose and see if we can lift up just that little bit higher. So next breath in, lifting head, chest, arms and legs. And if it's comfortable, adding a bit more contraction through that spine. Breathe into the belly. On the next exhale, make your way back down and have a rest. However you like to rest. You can turn the head to one side or rest the head on the hands. Give the legs a little shake out. And then easing back into our child pose. So hands under shoulders and taking hips back towards the knees. Find your favourite child. And then we'll come up and we're going to come to sit. So this is where you may want to have just a little bit of support underneath the buttocks. If you're a little tighter in the hamstrings, maybe folding it up a little bit higher if you prefer. And the other thing you might like to have is a strap within reach. So we're going to sit on the edge of the support if you're using it. So I'm just grabbing the sit bones, but the thighs are down towards the floor. I don't want to be so high that the backs of my legs are unsupported on the ground. So don't think super high is going to necessarily be better. Now we'll have strap within easy reach, toes pulled back. We're going to keep the right leg straight to start off with and bend the left knee. So on a straight knee bend, and then we're rotating from the hip joint, bringing that knee to the side. Now you can take the heel into the perineum, nice and tight, or inner thigh, or wherever it's comfortable. Another choice is you can add a little support for the hip or the knee joint if there's discomfort in those joints. So we're facing our right leg, and you could put a strap around the right foot, but bear in mind it's not there to, pull as such. It's more, I'd like you to think of keeping the elbows soft and the chest open as we come forwards. So this is going to work on the outer hip and also hamstrings of the straight leg and the lower back. And depending on where you're tightest, that's where you're going to notice it the most. For me, it's my hip. So let's start with the right hand just near the hip, and then we're going to breathe in, lengthen the front of the spine. We want to tilt from the hip joints. I'm going to release my left hand forwards. Now you may be comfortable to hold the toes, or you can hold on to the strap or just hold the outer shin. And I'm trying to keep my chest open. So this is why I've got this hand back to start with. So we relax forwards, noticing where we feel the stretch the most, trying to relax into that area. Now we'll bring that right hand forward. So you can either have both hands to feet, but if you're sort of straining and rounding into your back, perhaps back it off a little bit with the strap. So you're going to take the elbows out to the side, chest open, as we fold a little deeper, maybe. If you're quite comfy holding onto your feet, see if you can cross the hands and then bend the elbows out to the sides. I'm just going to relax my head, but I haven't dropped it into the chest. I'm still keeping some length both sides of the neck. Steady breath. Next inhale, we'll make our way back up. And then from here, with the legs bent as they are, we're going to take the right leg around to the right side. So the left one didn't really move. Take our left hand out. Take the right arm over. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, you can either stay low or you could lift up with the buttocks and add a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to sweep it back down. And just a little rotation to the right. So I've got left hand on left knee, right hand behind. Just turning, looking to the right. And then release. Okay, so we'll swing the legs back to the front. Now we're going to keep the left leg straight. We'll bend the right knee and then allow it to move from the hip joint. And if you want, have that little bit of support for your hip or your knee. Feel free to adjust where your foot can comfortably come into the body. And then we face that left leg. So if you want to put the strap around the foot, set that up. Okay, so tall spine. Inhale, lengthen through the front body. Keep the left hand near the hip to start with. And as we exhale, leaning forward. So either hand towards the foot or around the strap, but I want the chest open. So just easing into it. I'm feeling where it's tightest for me. And I'm trying to add a little softness to that area on my exhalation. Or allow that left hand to now come forwards. So both hands on the strap if you're using the strap, elbows soft, drawing chest forwards. Don't drop the head. Keep it in line with the rest of the spine. It's comfortable. Remember, you can cross the arms, go a little further. You can also have the hands here, either side on the floor. Notice if one side's different. So I'm definitely higher on this side, just because I have tighter right side. This is where we practice our santosha, our contentment with wherever we get to. We accept it, we're grateful, and we try not to force and fight. Okay, next breath in, we're going to come back up. So we'll keep the right leg where it is. Let's swing. Left leg around, behind. And then we're taking right hand out to the side. We're going to inhale up with the left arm. So you can either stay down low, or if it's comfortable, you can lift the buttocks. And just a little bit more extension. We'll release that back down. Keep the legs as they are. Right hand to right knee, left arm behind, and a little rotation. Little twist. All right, breathing and come back to center. Okay, so we'll swing both legs around to the front. A little bit more of a twist now. So you've got choices. You could keep both legs out straight and do your little twist that way. Or if it's comfortable for you to come into a cross-legged position, then do that. And you've automatically crossed into your favorite position. So just notice which leg's in front. For me, it's my right. From here, we're going to bring the right hand around, nice and close to the spine. As I breathe in, again, I want that length through the body. As I exhale, I'm going to turn, and then I have another breath in, a bit more length. Exhale, I'm now going to bring my left hand to my right knee, add a little bit more into the twist. Shoulders down and back, sternum lifted. I can just feel that really nice squeeze happening through my rib cage. This is working our obliques, side waist muscles. Okay, next breath in. We're going to release back out of that. Now let's go to your least favorite cross of the legs. So we're going to switch around to twist to the other side. And remember, if it's not comfortable on a knee or a hip joint, you can always add a little bit of extra support for those joints. So we're going to take left hand behind. I've got my right hand on right knee to start. Inhale, draw up, tall spine, head over sit bones. Add a little rotation on the exhale. Next breath in, a bit more length. Exhale. Now I've shifted my right hand to left knee. Turning, rotating, holding the twist now. Staying with the breath. And then we're going to breathe in, gently release, come back out. We'll take both legs out in front, give them a little loosen off. And then to finish off today, you've got a choice when it comes to inversions. So one choice, if you've got a wall, a couch, chairs, all of that stuff works quite well. You're going to put your legs up in the air, back is going to be flat on the floor. Or you could have a little bit of support underneath the buttocks. So if I was going to do that, here's my basic fold of my blanket, and then I've just folded it in half again. And I have that up against the wall. So it's just a bit of padding for my lower back. To get into this, it really helps to not start in the center of your support. So I'm just on the very edge of my blanket. I'm then going to bring my shoulders down as I roll the legs up. And you can see I've got a nice connection with my buttocks and the back of the legs. So this is Viparati Karani. Really lovely pose. Great release for the legs. You can also, if I was, say, on a couch or a chair, then I would have the edge of the chair behind the back of the knees. This is also a fabulous position. So if you've got a couch, go for that. Legs up, back is nice and flat. If it's comfortable and it's safe for you to do so, you could do a shoulder stand or a bridge pose, but make it a bit more supported. So either of these positions, we're just softening into the belly. If you find it's a little hard to have the buttocks and the legs straight up at the wall, if you're a bit tight through the back and the legs, it's okay to be a little further away. It's always harder to get back in once you've moved away, but you know, if you've got to be here, that's fine. You just have the knees a little bit bent. So nice steady breath. And I've spent up to half an hour, we're not doing half an hour today, but when I travel, in those good fashioned days when we used to go travelling, if you find you're getting pins and needles in the feet or whatever, you just wiggle the toes, move them around a little bit. So we're encouraging that blood flow back up to the feet and back down again. So very good for draining lymphatic fluid, venous blood, good for varicose veins. And, this nice position on the back is really good for the spine. A lot of chiropractors like having the back flat on the floor, legs up. So just a few more breaths here. So when we roll back out of this, take your time, don't rush up straight away. So I just take the legs over, maybe support the head. I let the body settle here, a few breaths. And you want to move slowly. So we're going to come back up. Make our way back to the mat if you were off it, and over onto our backs. So last little bit is again a choice. We're going to come into what we call the fish pose, which opens up the chest and the throat a little bit more. So we press through our elbows. I want the elbows close into the body. Ultimately, the legs are going to end up straight. But if you find it easy, you can have the knees a little bit bent to get into this. So depending on your neck, gentle little lift. I press through the elbows, lift the chest, take the head slightly back. And I'm using my back muscles here. So, if I take my elbows off the floor, my back is holding me. So this is one fish pose. Can be quite nice to have the hands underneath the buttocks for a bit more support. When you come down, you just roll back down. So I slightly lifted the head. A little bit more intense. So if you've got no neck problems, you could try this one if you like, is to press through the elbows, lift the chest, take the head right back, shoulders away from ears. I'm going to extend the legs on this one. So I've got my hands under my buttocks, spine lifted, elbows adding support. So there's not a lot of weight here on my head. Arms are doing the work, back is doing the work. However, if I take the support away of the arms and hands to chest, this is the full pose, I do now have weight on my head. So that might not suit everybody, but the back is still working as well. So we breathe into this open body. To come back down, I bring the hands back in, press through my elbows, lift the head, roll the spine back down. Little rest, gentle little release of my neck, side to side. And then from here, re-lengthen the spine, take the knees into the chest, hands on each knee, and we're taking the knees for a little circle around, a little massage. And then we'll go back the other way. So whatever feels good for your back, you can go for a rock. And then we'll let that go. All right. Take your time. Roll over to one side. Come up to sit. Find your warm gear. So it was 9 degrees in here this morning when I got up. It should be about 21 because I've got the heating on, but it's cold. So if you need to put warm gear on, grab that. Get all your warm gear, socks, jumpers, have your blanket ready, etc. And then if you can find a comfortable seated position. So for me, I've got a nice comfy bolster here. I'm going to stack up on. You can sit in a chair. We're going to do just a little bit of Nadi Shodhana. So alternate nostril breathing is the other name for it. If you don't like sitting cross-legged, find another comfortable position. Doesn't matter as long as you've got a straight spine. So that's why sitting in a chair can be quite nice, feet flat on the floor. Okay, so once you've got your tall, comfortable position, think about drawing up through the crown of the head, pressing down through the sit bones. And for alternate nostril breathing, we generally use our right hand to direct the flow of breath. So I don't teach opposites on this one when I'm in my general classes. I always use my right hand. If you're familiar with the practice, feel free to go straight into it. Otherwise, we're going to use our thumb to block off the right nostril. So I block it right up at the head here, just underneath the cartilage. It's very gentle, doesn't need a lot of pressure. Index, middle finger, lots of people like to place it here at the eyebrow centre. And then the ring finger blocks off the left nostril. So it looks a little bit like this. Now when I'm directing the flow of breath, the hands stay very close in. You can have the eyes closed or open. Most people prefer to close the eyes to concentrate on the practice. And we always start through our left nostril. So I'm going to take a breath in through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Close the right nostril off. And then breathe in through our left. Close the left nostril. Release the thumb. And exhale through your right. We then breathe in through our right. Close with the thumb, release the left and exhale. So that is one round. We're going to go again. We inhale through left, exhale through right, inhale through right, and exhale through left. And we keep going in that pattern. However, if this becomes uncomfortable at any time, just stop the practice. Have a rescue breath is what we call it. Breathe through both nostrils. And then see if it's comfortable to start again through left. So it might be nice to imagine that breath going up and down the sides of the triangle. The top of the triangle is at the eyebrow centre. So we inhale up to the eyebrow centre and we exhale out through the opposite nostril. So try not to force the breath, keep it relaxed. You might notice one side's a little bit more blocked than the other, and that's perfectly normal. And we do this practice to bring balance to the right and left side. So eventually, when you do this long enough, you will get balance or openness between both sides of the nostrils. And this also affects our brain function. It brings balance to the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Now we always finish the practice through the left nostril, exhale. So when you next come to exhaling out through your left nostril, finish that exhale, and then bring the hands back down again. And if you like, eyes closed, just breathe through both nostrils. Observe the effects of the practice. It's meant to be a calming, balancing breath. And then without disturbing your body too much, can you now make yourself comfortable on the floor in Shavasana, our corpse pose. So perhaps put a blanket over yourself, maybe support underneath the knees or the head. and settle into your Shavasana. So once you've found that comfortable position, resist the urge to move. Relax the eyes, close them if you can. Allowing the flow of breath in the nostrils to relax and settle. No control now. And then paying attention to the top of your head without looking for anything in particular, just feeling the sensations at the top of the head. And then noticing any sensations at the back of the head, either side of the head. And what can you feel around the ears, the forehead? Observe your eyes, nose, the cheeks, feel the mouth. Any sensation around the jaw. And as you continue to scan through the body, just be mindful of not using your eyes to direct your attention. Keep the eyes soft. Just see if you can connect directly with sensations by feeling the body from within. And sometimes there might not be sensation, it could be numb. That's okay, just let the attention rest wherever I direct you to. If any images or thoughts arise, just notice them, let them pass through, and try to observe just the sensations. So now moving your attention to the neck, feeling around the throat, observing sensations around the shoulders, and then slowly scan down your arms, feeling any sensations of the skin, the muscles, bones, all the way into the hands. Can you feel each finger from the inside? And also the palms. Noticing any tingling, pulsing, pressure, warmth or cold. And then coming back from the arms, now exploring sensations around the chest. Sensation of breath, movement. Feel the upper back, the shoulder blades. Moving down into the middle and lower back. Into the abdomen. Feel sensations arise in the hips, the buttocks, the genitals. And then scanning down the legs, feeling the legs from within, all the way down to the feet and the toes. Noticing contact or pressure with the floor, the temperature. So can you now expand your attention to include the entire body? Be aware of the whole body as a field of changing sensations. Perhaps even tuning into that subtle energy field that surrounds every cell, every organ in the body. Notice as you try to keep the attention on the whole body, is there any particular sensations that call for your attention? Can you bring a softness to those areas? So this is just observation. Don't try to push away or hold on to any particular sensation that arises. Just be open to everything changing. Your body, focusing on the room that you're lying in, the sounds that you can hear, aware of the walls, the ceiling, the air on the face. Adding a little movement now into the body. Slowly extending and stretching in any way it's comfortable to do so. And as you move the body, thinking of trying to keep some of that awareness of sensation as you go about your day and how the body feels and what it does in every day. So when you're ready, make your way up to a seated, comfortable position. And this week's quote is from Buddha. He says, "In the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you." So human beings, we like things to stay the same, but things will never stay the same. They always have to change. So we have to be able to let things go. So I'm going to bring the hands together. Namaste. Have an excellent rest of your week, And for those who are watching this online and missed class with me this week, hopefully next week we will be back open. So thank you very much.